All right, let's get right into it. We're about to peel back the layers on a story you think you know to find a kind of spiritual blueprint hidden right there in plain sight.
I mean, when you hear the name Troy, what comes to mind, right? War, a city that couldn't be beaten, a giant wooden horse. It's epic, it's a legend, it's a story we've all grown up with.
But what if that's not the whole story? What if all those epic poems, all the movies, they only gave us the highlight reel? What if the city of Troy itself was built to be more than just a city? What if it was a symbol, a kind of metaphysical map with a way, way deeper meaning? And that's the rabbit hole we're going down today. The source material we're looking at really pushes us to see Troy not just as some historical dot on a map, but as an idea, a city literally built on cosmic universal principles. And here's the key, right here. Homer. I mean, he gave us the incredible story of how Troy fell. But this way of looking at it suggests the real secrets, the juicy stuff, is hidden in the story of how it was created. So that's the big question. Who actually built Troy? And what was their real purpose? Well, according to the legend, those incredible walls, they weren't built by mortals at all. Nope, they were the work of the gods. And that right there tells you everything. It means the city's foundation is symbolic from the get-go. And which gods were on the job? Well, that's absolutely crucial to cracking this hidden blueprint. So, who were these divine builders? The myth says it was none other than Poseidon and Apollo. They were the ones hired, so to speak, to build the walls for this human king, Laomedon. And trust me, this was not a random team up. Okay, so this pairing is really the core of the whole idea. Think of it like this. You have Poseidon, god of the sea. He represents the physical stuff, right? The water, the earth, the actual bricks and mortar of the city. The form. Then you have Apollo, god of light and music. He represents the spiritual side, the harmony, the divine reason, the cosmic order. He's the blueprint. So when you put them together, bam, you get this perfect union of matter and spirit. That's how you build a truly sacred place. Apollo's role here is often tied to this really cool concept called the logos. It's basically the divine creative intelligence that brings order to the universe. So Apollo wasn't just a construction worker, he wasn't just stacking stones. He was infusing the walls with this cosmic harmony, with sacred geometry, making them perfect, not just physically, but spiritually too. So, let's recap. You've got this perfect city, built by the gods themselves, a perfect balance of the material and the spiritual. It sounds unbeatable, right? What could possibly go wrong? Well, one thing. Us. Humanity. And this is where the story takes a turn. And that brings us to the man in charge, King Laomedon. He had it all. The ultimate defense. A city literally designed by the cosmos. But here's the thing. All the divine protection in the world doesn't mean a thing if the person inside has no integrity. It all started with a sacred deal, a promise. The gods did their part. They delivered a masterpiece. And then, the king just stiffed them. He broke his word. He refused to pay. And that one single act of betrayal, it just completely tore up the divine contract. It doomed the city, no matter how high or how strong those walls were. This is a classic textbook case of what the Greeks called hubris. It's that deadly pride, that arrogance that makes you think you can cheat the gods, that you can take this incredible gift from the cosmos and just not hold up your end of the bargain. It's a fatal mistake, a moral rot that basically guarantees your own downfall. So the takeaway here isn't just, don't be a greedy king. It's much bigger than that. It's a story about what happens when that sacred trust, that bond between humanity and the divine, completely breaks down. And this whole idea of a master builder being betrayed, well, it turns up in other hidden traditions too. And this is where our source material drops a bombshell. It draws a direct line from this story to the foundational legend of Freemasonry, the story of Hiram Abiff. He was the master architect of Solomon's temple. And what happened to him? He was betrayed by his own workers. See the parallel? In both stories, you have a sacred project, a masterpiece, that gets corrupted because a sacred promise is broken. And the result is always tragedy. Okay, so the city's doomed. The Trojan horse arrives, the walls are breached, and Troy goes up in flames. End of story, right? Not so fast. In this kind of esoteric thinking, destruction is almost never the end. It's usually just a transformation, a really, really fiery one. The physical city? Yeah, that was gone. reduced to ash and rubble. But the idea of Troy, that spiritual blueprint, that perfect mix of body and soul that the gods created, that can't be destroyed by fire. It had to be saved. It had to be carried forward, kind of like a precious seed rescued from a burning forest. And that's where the hero Aeneas enters the picture. As Troy is burning, he escapes. And he's not just carrying his family, he's carrying its legacy. The source we're looking at calls it an alchemical heritage. I love that. It's like the fire burned away everything but the pure spiritual gold. He's carrying the city's DNA, the core code of its divine design. And he takes that code, that seed, across the sea, plants it in new ground, and what grows from it? Only the Roman Empire. So you see, the spirit of Troy never really died. It was just reborn, stronger. So looking at the Trojan War this way, it just shows you how these ancient stories can have all these different layers of meaning, right? But it's also a warning that is just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. This idea of a sacred promise, it's not just for myths and legends. It's the bedrock of our entire world. It's the trust we put in our governments, in our communities, and each other. And the story of Troy is a pretty stark reminder that when we betray those core principles, when we break that trust, well, no wall, no matter how high or strong, is going to be enough to save us. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other stories that we think we know inside and out are just sitting there waiting for us to find their real hidden meaning?